Alright folks, welcome back. For this video, we will take a look at a special tier 10 Chinese tank destroyer. It is the 114 SP2. So this is practically a large heavy tank modified into a tank destroyer. It has 152mm as well as a turret, but it doesn't have armor compared to the likes of Yak Panzer E100 or its cousin, the 113 GFT. So it has only 75 for the hull front, 75 for the hull sides, and 135 for the turret front. So it is practically a large glass cannon. But the gun performance is actually somewhat better than the Grill 15. So it's technically a little bit better at sniping than the Grill 15. Funny enough. So let's take a look at the stats, but it is a paper tank, a proposed project for a heavy tank destroyer, based on parts of the IS-8 or T-10 as well as WZ-111, only in blueprints. So paper tank did not exist, but it does have a 152. Alpha is 100 less than the average 152s. It's like a Object 705A or 26A version number 4. So a little bit less alpha, but reloads faster. Penetration is alright, but not as good as something like T110E4 or E3. So pen is a little bit wonky. Also, the Object 26A version number 4 has like about 300mm of pen too. So below average penetration, below average alpha, but DPM is good. Accuracy is surprising for a Chinese vehicle. 0.32 and 2 seconds of aim time for a large ass gun. That is actually pretty good. So there are a few surprises for this gun, but it is more or less a sniping 152 like the Grill 15, surprisingly enough. But has a crew of 4, so it will fit the 113 GFTs as well as the WZ-111 GFT and 111 FT. So those are different of a playstyle. They mostly train repairs, whereas this vehicle doesn't have armor, so you will likely have camo or even snapshotting, even off-road driving, I think, to help with the maneuverability of the vehicle. So kind of a different choice of perks and skills. Let's take a look at the firepower. So 273mm of pin, it's AP shell, and we have high explosive anti-tank, I think, for the gold shell. Actually APCR, never mind. APCR round is 239, so obviously a little bit better. High explosive is regular high explosive, 90mm of pin, a 40 alpha, a little bit less than the 970 or 950 for the average 152s. Alright, AP, APCR, and high explosive regularly. It has decent rate of fire for 100% crew, so reloads every 14 seconds. This could be shaved down to around 12.7 or so with rammer and other stuff, so not bad for a fast reload. 7 degrees gun depression, 20 elevation, not bad too, so you can go hold down. Traverse is slow, but it is a large turret and a large ass gun, as well as tank destroyer based, so only about like 20 degrees per second with a good crew. So yeah, you'll probably put vents as well. 1.9 seconds of aim time, that is great. 0.31 accuracy too, that is also pretty good, and 2800 DPM, pretty nice. So yeah, the gun's performance is not bad, but let's take a look at the hidden stats for this vehicle. So here is tanks.gg. As you can see, the turret traverse dispersion is a lot better than the Grill 15. Grill 15 is garbage. Don't aim the gun while traversing the turret. You'll have a bad time. It's 0.38. That is horrendous. Also, it has better while moving accuracy, even though you shouldn't move, but this turret performance will dramatically improve the snapshotting capability of the gun, whereas the Grill 15 is more or less you have to aim and without moving the gun trying to hit the target. So even though the Grill 15 has better accuracy while not moving and better aim time, if you turn the gun, it's super inaccurate. So yep, Penetration is close enough. DPM is a little bit better. Alpha is less, of course, but this is slower than the Grill 15. Has worse terrain resistance and top speed, but that's a whole different story. So, yeah, it's not a bad gun. Actually, it might be better than the Grill 15. One more comparison I forgot to check is the shell velocity. Slightly slower shell velocity, so you have to lead your shot a little bit more than the Grill 15, but when in doubt, fire gold shell. That will help out with the gold shell shell velocity, obviously, but don't be a scum. You don't need gold shell most of the time. So yeah, it's not a bad gun, but there are downsides to this vehicle. Namely, it has no armor. It has 2000 health, which is great, but 75 for the hull front, 75 for the hull sides, 135 for the turret front. It is slightly sloped, but don't even depend on it. 75 for the turret sides, the large ass turret. You have a commander cupola, as well as large basement for the ammo rack in the back, presumably, so it's huge. And taking a closer look, it's super green. It is very green. It has practically no armor. About 120 effective for the upper plate, 140-ish aiming downwards for the lower plate. Per front, about 150. You'll be pinned by light tanks too, so maybe the mantlet will save it. Mantlet might throw a few shots, might. That is very rare. Very, very rare chance you will bounce a few shots with the mantlet. Don't even depend on it. So this thing has no armor whatsoever. Ooh. There are some surprising strips of V-shape armor for the hull sides. Wow. That's interesting. Is that really a V-shape? That is a V-shape for the hull sides. So you will throw a few shots with V-shape hull sides, even though it's only 55 with space armor of 15. But yeah, just hit a little bit lower between the tracks, you'll pin. So that's interesting. There are a few throwish parts of the armor, namely the above the tracks parts, but you still have to angle it. Yeah, you still have to angle it. Alright, so overall, no armor whatsoever. None. You'll be penetrated by artillery. You will sometimes be penetrated by high explosives, but normally you'll be penetrated, period. No question about it. You do have a lot of health to compensate. 2000 health is about 200 more than the Grill 15, but that's not saying much. So, armor's crap. Mobility wise, it has about 15.5 horsepower per ton ratio, which is not bad, but it is a heavy tank based tank destroyer, so it needs it. Weighs about 63 tons, 65 maximum. So you could ram a few guys, but the frontal plate is not thick enough for you to ram, so question. But 45 kilometers per hour top speed, 18 reverse. That is actually not bad for a heavy tank based chassis. And 31 degrees per second hull traverse. Also not bad. So even though the turret turns a little bit slower, you can compensate with the hull traverse as well, but that will add to the dispersion bloom for the gun's accuracy, so take it with a grain of salt. But it is fairly mobile for a heavy tank based tank destroyer. Fairly. It does have some concealment, surprisingly. Even though it's a tank destroyer based off of a heavy tank, it has about 16.8% boost to stationary camo, which is not bad. It's better than a Patton, to say the least. So this is like a medium tank's camo for a large tank destroyer, which is surprising. So trading camouflage is not a bad idea, but I will probably put rammer, vents, and likely binoculars to be a camping bastard. So that's probably all the equipment I'll probably use, but it does have 390 meters of view range, which is not bad too, but it's the standard for tank destroyer. So here is the comparison with all other TDs of tier 10. Let me move my camera Go here. And as you can see, penetration is obviously not the best compared to stuff like the turreted 268 version number 5. So this is similar to the 114 SP2. It is a T10 based heavy tank with a turret and a large ass gun modified into a tank destroyer, but this has been collecting dust for a while. So this thing doesn't have the DPM as the 114 SP2, as well as the accuracy and aim time, but it does get a stronger turret. So that's the only trade-off. But it does have a weak spot, namely the commander cupola is huge, like an M60. It is gigantic. So it also doesn't have the gun depression, only 5 degrees compared to 7, and elevation as well. So it does have the penetration and other stuff, but yeah, this thing has been collecting dust for a while, so not surprising. But does it have the mobility? Yeah, mobility is about the same too, so this is more upfront, whereas the 114 SP2 is more sniping, surprisingly. But I would prefer to snipe because everybody will hit the commander cupola nonetheless. But it does reload a lot quicker, even though it's a lower DPM. A lower alpha, it has higher DPM. That's what I'm trying to say. A lot higher DPM. Better accuracy, better aim time too. But almost all the turreted version of tier 10 tank destroyer with a 152 or 150, they are mostly focused on either close range combat or missing all their shots. Namely the Grille 15. Because you cannot turn the goddamn turret without the bloom of the freaking gun traverse. Ugh. It's terrible. So I would think I would rather play the 114 SP2 over the Grille 15. Mostly because it actually has camo too. Compared to the Grille 15. Grille 15 has a heavy tank's camo, to say the least. But this thing gets spotted way too easy. And it turns faster for the hull. Right? Top speed is no comparison. Grille 15 beats it, but it is based off of a Panther chassis-ish, smaller chassis. It's a shaven off Panther chassis-ish, but whatever. So overall, as you can see, yeah, doesn't have the turret armor of something like a 268 version number 5, or even the superstructures of a 113 GFT or E4, but it does have the accuracy, aim time, so compared to the larger guns of the 152s, for all tank destroyers. So surprising it's not as bad as something like the 268 version number 5, but it's obviously not as good as the Grille 15. So I would rather take the 1.9 seconds over the 1.44, as well as the 0.31 accuracy over the 0.26 over the gun bloom. As you saw, the gun bloom is dramatic for the Grille 15. I have missed so many shots with this garbage ass 0.38 after turret traverse. It's so bad for the Grille 15. They need to buff that. They really do need to buff it. Unless you don't move the gun and wait for the target to go into the center of your reticle, which doesn't happen, right? So yeah, maybe have a better sniping, quote unquote, tank destroyer at tier 10. But overall, is it worth getting a spot on Clan Wars or something for this vehicle? I don't know. I mean, if you have nothing else to go for, maybe. But I will probably go for a 907 first if you don't have one, or a 7201K if you like German heavy tanks. But how much would I rate this vehicle? I mean, performance-wise. Oh, I haven't shown you guys terrain resistance. Did I show you guys terrain resistance? It's crap. Terrain resistance is crap, even though horsepower per ton ratio is pretty good. So this thing will get bogged down. But how much would I rate it? It could Wolfpack as a second line medium tank or heavy tank supporting other heavy tanks with actual armor, or tank destroyers with actual armor. So what you do is you drive alongside stuff like T110 E3s and prevent them from being flanked. That's what you do. That's your job. But on its own, it's not fast enough to spot for itself, take the shot, and run away. So you cannot single-handedly carry like a Scorpion G if you're good at it, but it is a large, intimidating target, so they might think you have armor even though you don't. But there is one trick, obviously, is to turn on your reticle to show you guys armor penetration. Where the hell? So always select armor penetration indicator. So this will tell you if you can penetrate or not with your little V shape, upside down V shape. So normally some of the noobs don't know about this, but this will automatically tell you if your shell will penetrate, somewhat penetrate, or not penetrate. So very useful. But as for vehicles like this, the reticle will become green, telling you that you practically will penetrate with all shells. So as a sniper, I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Maybe 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 is above average. It's alright for a sniper, but it's too big of a sniper. If this was based off of a, I don't know, like a Type 59 chassis, hell yes, it will practically be a good sniper because it's smaller, but you cannot fit a 152 on a Type 59. It will not support it, right? But maybe 7.5 out of 10. It's okay, it's not bad, but penetration is obviously not on par with other large guns of tier 10 tank destroyers. It does have the alpha, does have the accuracy and aim time, gun depression too, so it will be useful, but you still have to aim your shots against large up armor targets like mouses or stuff. But 7.75 out of 10. There you go. Slightly above average, but not much. So large ass chunky tank destroyer without armor. I've played a few of those before, namely the Waffen-Träger off E100. It has no armor. You get penetrated, you get spotted across the map, but that's the downside. So yeah, compared to other Chinese tank destroyers, the playstyle is different. These vehicles have armor. It's slope 230, which is effective of 280-ish to a 290-ish. So yeah, it's a very effective haul down tank destroyer that does city combat. So the 114 SP2 doesn't do that. It's a sniper. So cruise skill training is different. But there you go, folks. If it's for bonds, alright, I'll take it for 15,000 bonds since they're not offering anything else. But other than that, not worth the clan rewards spot if you ask me, but it's alright. It's something new. I just wish we can buy Clan Wars stuff in the bond shop. Otherwise, people will always complain about chieftains and other stuff. But if you can buy all the Clan Wars tank in bond shop, nobody will play Clan Wars, right? But we're waiting on the Clan Wars stuff. So yeah, Clan Wars stuff should be updated soon in summer. About 2 more months. But I'm back making videos. Unfortunately, the mustache had to go. My wife came back from her trip, so she did not like the mustache. I'm sorry. I'm trying to grow it back, but it will take like 5 months or something. God damn. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll try to go back to scheduled video making, even though it's kind of difficult. Not really. Kinda. But thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
What a bittersweet. Oh my life. Let me face my fear.